The greatest American alive.
I think what's tough too, I think, just like as men, he was saying, it's about what we can create outside. It's about what we can do, what we can bring to the table, I guess, which is kind of sucks because men are like their value is based on what they can put on the table, right? And we're not even looking at the actual man internally. We're just like, well, if you don't make this, you don't make that, you're not shit. Like men are kind of pushed to just work and slave and are kind of forced in a position where if you don't make a certain amount of money, you just are worthless to society. And that's something I don't like. I don't like that. Of course it's like, how can we change that?
That young woman is a freedom fighter. Did you hear the question that she asked? How do we change this? The American system is destroying the American man and the American family. And the question of all questions for you, the greatest American alive, is how do we change this?
It's like, how can we change that? But
there is no changing it. We can cry about it, man. But
listen though, because it's like, yeah, the reality is like, oh, we can cry about it. Yeah, but the reality is that why do we just brush it off like that?
Fresh&Fit are some knuckleheads. Did you hear those gentlemen? They said there's no way to help the American man. How can you fight for men if you ain't got no solutions? How in the world can you fight on behalf of the American person if you ain't got no solutions? Tell the truth and get some power. They made it illegal for me to be a daddy. They made it a crime for me to be a father. How in the world does it take two people to have a child? Then all of a sudden the government gives all the resources and all the benefits to one person and they put Project Daddy in jail. Tell me how that makes sense.
The greatest American alive.
That young woman is a freedom fighter, and she's fighting harder than those two young men on the set. Fresh&Fit, y'all are some knuckleheads. How in the world can you fight for men if you ain't got no solutions?
Because what I've noticed about you is you're very militant. So like, I don't know your background, but I just kind of feel like it's very, oh, well, get over it. This is how it is. Cry about it if you want. But it's like, okay, but what about the person under that? Like, at what point in time, like, because as a man, if I put myself in a man's shoes and I'm having a hard time getting women, I'm not making a lot of money, I feel worthless to society, nobody wants me.
Everything that happens in America comes through legislation. If you ain't got no political power, then you ain't got no power in America. Tell the truth and get some power. There are 10 million men in America that are completely out of the workforce. They have no job whatsoever. But I'll tell you what these men do have. They have felonies and they have children. Those two things completely knock them out of the job market.
Why should we worry about this decline in the fraction of prime-age men who have jobs?
I think we should worry about it. First of all, understand it's quite large. The difference between a recession and a normal economic period is maybe 2 percentage points on the employment population ratio. When it goes up by 2 percentage points, we think we're coming down.
That's a couple million people, right?
Right. So this is something that's more like 10 percentage points stretched over a longer period of time, but you're talking about something that in some sense is bigger than the difference between a recession and a boom. And the impact it has, the evidence is it's very clear that, for some of these people it's a choice. Not everyone needs to work, not everyone should work. But when you're talking about someone who's not married, who has less than a high school degree, there's a good chance it's not a choice, and it's associated with, with depression, with drug use, with suicide, with a range of bad outcomes for people.
So, it's supposed to be a pool of about the neighborhood of 10 million, close to 10 million men we're talking about. 10 million, close to 10 million men who are over age 25, under age 24, 54, but are not even bothering.
It's millions.
So I want you to answer this question for me. How in the world does everyone in America make a profit off of me except for me? I go to work and I clock in, the government gets 30%, and then my ex-wife gets 35%. How in the world do you tax me 65% off the top and then tell me that I'm supposed to succeed? To make that make sense for me.
And if you have a father that's coming out of prison and he's trying to get back on his feet and live above board, in the regular economy, but then he has $20,000, $30,000 in child support debt owed to the government. His license is suspended because of the child support, right? Again, owed to the government, much of it, right? And then if he does land a job, if he's lucky enough to find employment despite the criminal record, those are difficulties in itself. As soon as he starts to work, 65% of his wages will be garnished.
If you are a father in America, how come everyone in America makes a profit off your child except for you? Somebody please tell me, do you think anyone in America cares more about my children than me? Do you think anyone in America cares more about your children, the greatest American alive? Do you think anyone cares more about your children than you?
The greatest American alive.
Tell the truth and get some power. We have passed laws that have destroyed the American family. We have passed laws that have destroyed the American man. It is illegal for me to be a father in America. If I can't afford to pay this bill, you created an imaginary bill for my children. And if I can't pay this bill, you will put me in jail. And incarceration in America costs $30,000 a year. So you would rather invest? So you would rather send me to jail than invest in my family. How can you invest in the American family? The same way that you do with SNAP. Everything in America is incentivized through legislation. You pass a law and that law creates behavior. So if you pass a law that says you can turn a profit from not having a family, then you'll see destruction of the American family.
This child support practice where they're going after money that's actually taken from the children, it doesn't even benefit the children. Our states are forcing poor mothers to, usually the mothers have custody, but not always, forcing poor mothers to sue poor fathers for money that doesn't even help the children. And there are studies that look at, what are these termed fragile families, young fragile families when they have children at a young age. And there's potential for these families to work well together and to do well for their children. And even if they don't end up living together, to co-parent well. But again, when you force a poor mother to sue a poor father, that's not going to do much for that fragile relationship.
If you want to incentivize having a family in America, you can do it through tax credits. When you file your taxes, if you have children and you don't make no money, you'll get the earned income credit. Let's have some fun. If you want to incentivize the family, if you want to get food stamps, have a 2-parent household. If you don't have a 2-parent household, then you only get half of the benefit. If you want to get Section 8 housing, have a 2-parent household.
The greatest American alive.
I was reading an article from NPR, and it was written by a feminist. At the end of the article, she came to the conclusion that child support was not fair. It was taking advantage of working men. Her solution was that all the fathers in America who don't make very much money, she said, have them take care of their own children. And I said, oh my goodness, what an idea, right? To actually have a biological parent take care of their own child. Right now, if you're a single parent in America, you can get a child care credit. Yes, you can. Maybe I have the giggles because I've been drinking bubbly. Maybe I have the gigglies because I've been drinking bubbly. If you're a single parent in America, all of a sudden you qualify for all these benefits. Yes, we ignore the other biological parent. Men in America need to get some courage. Men in America need to get some courage. Yes, they do. Brittany Renner had more courage on that podcast than those 2 men sitting right in front of her.
Because I feel like men are more than what they just bring to the table. And I think for me, with women, like where I'm at now, an uncomfortable truth for me is I would be considered trophy pussy. Like I have to filter through, like, yes, I can leverage my beauty and get the highest bidder. But the reality is like we both want each other because I'm who I am. You can do what you do. But we can leverage and come together and get whatever we want out of that. But we're still missing the point here, which is the magic, like the romance, the love, the connection. Like at what point we can spit out statistics all day. We can talk about this is what men are to society. This is what women are to society. We're supposed to bear children. You guys are supposed to bring the bread in. But it's just like, okay, that's great. What about the other shit though?
She had passion and energy to fight for the things that she believed. But for some reason, men won't fight for themselves. For some reason, men won't fight for other men. And that's crazy as hell. Because if we chose to work together, we'd have one of the most powerful organizations in America, the 10 Million Man March, to say that I divest from paying this child support. You're not going to stand on top of me and say that you're tall. You're not going to stand on top of me and say that you're tall. That's not finna happen. When I'm doing the work, I should reap the rewards from me doing the work. If I have children, I should have the opportunity to raise my children. Who in the world gave you authority to dictate my children to me? That's crazy. I made these children. This is my legacy. This is my inheritance. This is my birthright. And how dare you infringe on my God-given sovereign rights to be a parent and tell me how I can parent?
The greatest American alive.
How dare you turn me into a criminal for being a father? How dare you turn being a father into a criminal? You know that this economy don't support 10 million men. There are 10 million men who've been out of the workforce. You know this. Economists know this. The government knows this.
So, it's supposed to be a pool of about in the neighborhood of 10 million, close to 10 million men we're talking about, men who are over age 25, under age 54, but are not even bothering.
It's millions.
So this has to be a deliberate attack on the American person. This must be a deliberate attack on the American family. If you can't see it, if you can't understand it, if you can't see that we spend $800 billion to fight wars, if you can't see that we spend billions of dollars on food stamps, if you can't do the mathematics and see how much money we spend in America, look at the debt clock. As the debt clock runs, you can see all the bills in America. You can see Medicare, you can see unemployment, you can see the whole economy through usdebtclock.org. You don't got to ask Project Daddy no questions. You can see it for yourself. We have a running debt in America, and for some reason, we want to turn American men into criminals because they want to be fathers. Help American men see their children, restore the family, invest in the family. The political agenda for 2024 is restoring the American family. If you want to get any type of government subsidy as it pertains to the child, then you have to incentivize the family structure. If you want to get child care credits, then you should have two parents. And if you don't have two parents, the other parent has the option to take care of their child. We're not going to play this game where we destroy one parent to build up the other parent. We're not doing that anymore. We're finna have a collaborative effort to restore the family and to make sure that you don't take advantage of the other biological parent. You can take a stand and be powerful today. If you want to donate to freedom, if you want to fight for freedom, please look at the bottom of the screen. Hit that Cash App, $PJDDY. If you want to fight for freedom, please share this video with everyone. Make sure that everyone knows that fathers are important in America. Tell your story. Get in those comments and you tell me the last time you seen your children. Get in those comments and tell me how much money you pay in child support.
The greatest American alive.
The political agenda for 2024 is restoring the American family. The political agenda for 2024 is to stop taxation without representation. You hit American men for 35% of their total income for a child. Man, hell, man, shit. Please, please, please. No. Fuck no. I scream extortion and collusion. You people are not going to collude against the American man to take advantage of me. I'm going to tell you again, you're not going to stand on top of me and say that you're tall. We're not playing this game anymore. If American men do not stand up and fight for what's right, we're not going to have equality in the family court system. Tell the truth and get some power. I want to raise my children. It's my God-given duty to raise my children. I have 3 sons, and it's my duty to raise my 3 sons. How many children do you have? It's your God-given responsibility and duty to raise your own children. I'm telling the American government right now to take your hands off of my family. Take your hands off of my children. I will not allow you to interfere with me raising my boys. You can't do it. You cannot turn a profit off of me and my family and then turn me into a criminal. We have solutions in America to end this nasty ass predatory system. We can incentivize family, but if we want to incentivize family, then we need a political structure. Yay 2024.
Yay 2024. Let's go.
I don't give a damn. That billionaire is going through the exact same thing that millions of men are going through, being separated and isolated from his children.
Allowed to know her party was. There's nothing legal. They're saying that these are the kind of games that's being played. At the light, it's the kind of thing that really has affected my health for the longest. And I'm just not playing. I'm taking control of my narrative this year. I'm being the father, the best father, the yay version of a father, and I'm not finna let this happen. And we're gonna be in real time. Take a slight right turn onto right here, Chicago. Happy birthday! I love you, and I'm just putting this online because I need y'all support. I didn't call Kim, text the nannies. I got on the phone with Tristan. He said. He asked Chloe, won't nobody give me the address to my daughter's birthday party right now? And that's going to imprint in her mind that I wasn't there for her. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to be in Miami recording my album. My whole schedule is all based around me being able to take my kids to school, me being there for them, making sure that I'm in their life. That's the whole point of having money. They take so many fathers just throughout America. They've been taking the fathers out the homes purposely, so I'm speaking up. I'm using my voice to say this ain't gonna keep happening. This narrative is not gonna happen. It's a lot of people that's not in a position where they ain't got no voice when people be playing games like this. Baby mamas be playing games, the grandmama be playing games like this, and it's like, as y'all know, they ain't finna play like that. with me.
If they can do it to Kanye West, look at what they can do to you.
The greatest American alive.
The American government spends $80 billion a year just to incarcerate American men. They're trying to control American men, and I don't think that you want to be controlled. I don't think the greatest American alive wants to be controlled. It's time to have better conversations. It's time to fight for the American family. It's time to fight for you, the greatest American alive.
The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive.
If you want to fight for freedom, please hit that Cash App, $PJDDY. If you want to fight for freedom, please share this video with everyone. It's important that we have better conversations so we can get some political power in America. Yay, 2024.
Yay, 2024. Let's go.